We're in Way Media.
Hello, Twisted Humans. Do you find yourself wanting to know more about the latest murder, conspiracy, cult, or haunting?
Then this is the podcast for you. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Sierra, and this is Twisted and Uncorked. Hello, and welcome to episode 131. I am tired today, so sorry if I'm not my chipper self. But this story is gonna be crazy, and that's all that matters.
That's true.
Before we get into it, do you have a fun fact?
I do have a fun fact for you. This book recommendation came from our patron, Becky. So thank you so much, Becky. It is called, I'm joining Sierra in the book club, guys, of weird facts. 853 hard-to-believe facts, better explained, counterintuitive, and fun trivia by Naden Kostov. It's currently free on Kindle, if anyone is interested in that. But I think we provide you enough obscure facts every week for you to just, keep turning into us. So thank you so much, Becky, for that recommendation. And be like Becky and join Patreon. Anyways, my fun fact is you can't ask follow-up questions because all I have is this blurb. Okay. A woman in Perth, Australia, is able to smell Parkinson's disease before patients show any symptoms or have been diagnosed. I don't know how. That is
I don't
my
like
fun
this.
fact.
I don't like that I can't.
Super cool fact, though.
I don't like that I can't ask follow-ups. It's weird. I need to research this woman and find her and ask her questions.
Yeah, right? I think we need to have her on the show. If she's listening, tune in, guys. Maybe she knows our Australian listeners. But that's a weird but probably helpful superpower.
I feel like if she tells people this fact about her, enough people this fact about herself, she's going to be put in like a cage at a government facility and used as a tool, right? Like that's why people who, I don't know if people who have superpowers exist, but if they did, that's why they keep their identity secret.
Yeah, right? Well, maybe that's why her
like
identity wasn't listed in this book.
Maybe.
They're keeping her safe. What's your fun fact?
My fun fact is about an Easter egg, and I know that it's not Easter, but I found this fun fact.
The Jeep Easter eggs?
No, not the Jeep ones. About the term Easter egg, actually. Not the term Easter egg as in it's Easter and we're hunting Easter eggs, but the first time that the term Easter egg was used as a joke or, something that's referenced as in like a hidden message.
Yeah.
There's two origin stories, and it doesn't make sense to me how there are two origin stories when one of them clearly came first, but
what came first, the chicken or the egg?
So the TV show, not the TV show, the movie, the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I love that.
1975. On the set of this movie, before it was filmed, the cast had an Easter egg hunt on set. Like an actual with Easter eggs. They had just an Easter, like Happy Easter egg hunt with actual eggs. But they didn't find all of the eggs before they started filming. So when you watch the movie, there are literal eggs hidden throughout the movie because they didn't get the chance to remove them all. So that's where this find the Easter egg, quote unquote Easter egg comes from, because it was an actual Easter egg from an Easter egg hunt on this thing. But then in 1979, the Atari video game people said that they actually invented it. What happened that is around the same time, again, 1979, a quote-unquote Easter egg was inserted to the video game Adventure in Atari. Atari preferred to keep their game designers and developers anonymous for fear that competing companies would attempt to poach the employees. So they never got any credit for what they did on the video games, which is kind of super fucking rude. Like, Atari guys, the CEOs of Atari are fucking assholes. These designers deserve credit. I mean, this feels like the whole thing that's happening right now with the writer's strike. Anyway, one of the game developers, Warren Robinette, decided to give himself credit by hiding the message created by Warren Robinette inside a secret room in the game Adventure. When Atari's management found out about the hidden message, they actually liked the idea of having their consumers go on a quote-unquote Easter egg hunt to find more hidden messages. So they encouraged these creators to continue to hide secret messages, but, stop telling them that it's you. Like, still assholes. But anyway, so some people say that Atari is this game designer, Warren from Atari, is the one who created hidden messages as in Easter eggs, but literally there were actual Easter eggs in Rocky Horror Picture Show. So you decide.
I'm gonna need to rewatch that movie. 1, because I love it. And 2, because now I'm intrigued. It's kind of like when we watch Project Fear every week and we're looking for rubber duckies. I can show you a
picture of one of them.
A screen still?
Oh, right under there.
That's so fun.
Under the chair.
Damn it, Janet. I love you. I also love mocktails. Sierra, do you have a mocktail recipe picked out for us today?
I do. So we have been doing, I have been doing Sober October.
I've been doing like 70% Sober October.
Even though this episode is coming out in November, it is still October when we're recording it. So I chose another recipe out of the Witch's Brew book that Naria got us. This one is called Roots of the Earth. And a little blurb about this. The earth is a mother because everything we know grows from her. She is a life giver, and for that, she is feminine and strong. When witches speak of grounding, we are referring to coming into her, associating our energy with the literal ground beneath our feet so we don't fly up into the clouds, as we so often do when we're lost in thought. When plants grow, they are grounded with roots that curl and twist into fertile soil. As a solid structure that serves as both a container and a source of being, the earth is a heavy and complex formation. However, water can erode it, fire can scorch it, wind can move it, and it can even work against itself with shifting tectonic plates that can cause an earthquake. Even when grounded, we are reminded to be flexible so that we can evolve. Carrots, as a root vegetable, are kin with the soil of the earth. As carrots are known to be good for eyesight, the carrot-infused drink will make you see clearly in a situation that might otherwise be cluttered with emotion. Grounding is best practiced regularly in witchcraft, but it is especially helpful when emotions or the mind are in danger of overtaking the body and blunting intuition. Carrots are particularly powerful in dispelling illusions and creating fertile ground in which our minds can grow. This ingredient will help you view your situations objectively, and that is a big part of today's story. As you mix this cocktail, imagine roots growing from the soles of your feet where you are standing, directly into the core of earth. Imagine them rooting you into the ground, keeping you level and secure. Imagine them allowing you the ability to walk with just enough slack that you can move about the earth as you desire. As you drink this cocktail, imagine coming into your body with each sip and feeling the earthiness of the flavor profile. Scan your body and notice where you are holding tension. Release it as you enjoy your concoction. This drink, Roots of the Earth, is good for any moon phase. The occasions on here say funerals, breakups, and job relocation.
Perfect selection for today's episode.
Well, it's good for today's episode in that we have certain life situations going on right now with job relocations, but also in that when I tell you this story, I need you guys to be very objective and, see clearly because this story is crazy. Anyway, let me get back to the drink real quick. Again, this is a mocktail, non-alcoholic. You use ginger tea, carrot juice, maple syrup, lemon juice, shake vigorously, Jesus. And yeah, this one actually doesn't have a picture, so I can't show you what it would look like, but it sounds great.
It does. It sounds really, really good and kind of perfect for cold weather because it's chilly. And
Yeah.
I love a hot ginger tea. Sierra did clarify, our mocktail situation. If you're watching on YouTube, I definitely misunderstood that, and I have a glass of white wine because I'm like, it's the first episode of November. Well, no, apparently not. So,
I mean,
sorry,
it
guys.
is, but
well, it is. But
when we decided to do Sober October, it was on October 1st for us, and for us, it is still October as we're recording this. So, yes, for me, it is still mocktail season.
yeah, see, I forever live in the future because of our podcast.
Yeah.
I love it.
But as I was saying about the story, I just want to give you a little intro to this real quick. I know
Okay.
Halloween is technically over now as you're listening to this.
It's in our
but
souls.
literally in my notes here, it's always Halloween in my soul.
You gotta say it like that creepy little kid.
That girl is like 19 now.
Is she?
Yes, I saw her do a video and she was like, I mean, I just say stuff like that. I didn't think people would think it was so funny. Yes, it's always Halloween in my soul.
Exactly.
But so the story that I found to cover today is especially spooky, and I wanted to fit it in as close to Halloween as I could. This is my disappeared episode, but I did slightly misunderstand the assignment on purpose. There are some disappeared people involved in this case. But most importantly, today's story, is going to be about a sort of urban legend, a boogeyman, who turned out to be the real thing.
Oh, no.
So we're going to get there, but first we are going to take a quick break so we can hear from Cabernet and True Crime. So, have you heard of the legend of Cropsey?
I think maybe not.
Okay.
It sounds familiar. It might be what I'm thinking of, or it might be something totally different.
In Staten Island, New York, Cropsey was the boogeyman. Like most boogeyman stories, adults told these stories to children as a way to sort of scare them into being good and doing the right thing. Don't go outside at night without a parent or Cropsey will get you. Once the sun goes down, it's time to leave the park because Cropsey could be in the shadows waiting for us. Don't go into unstable abandoned buildings because Cropsey lives there.
I think that's just good advice anyway.
Right, but children don't usually take good advice. Come on.
True
You gotta
enough.
scare them into listening.
True enough.
Cropsey, according to legend, was an escaped mental patient from Willowbrook Mental Institution and lived under the abandoned building in the tunnels. But Willowbrook Mental Institution didn't actually ever exist under that name. There was a Willowbrook State School, which was a state-run institution for adults and children with intellectual disabilities. The school opened up in the 50s, and it was known to have pretty terrible living quarters. It was built to house up to 4,000 people, but not surprisingly, it eventually housed 6,000 at one time. It got pretty bad, but it wasn't closed for many years until the late 1980s. My story takes place mostly in the 1970s, so no abandoned building or tunnels there. But then there was also the Seaview Hospital. This used to be a hospital for tuberculosis patients. I just joined those two words together on accident. Sorry about that.
I think Sierra needs to stop drinking mocktails if the last few episodes has proven anything.
Okay. It was, at the time, in the 1970s, an abandoned building with tunnels underneath. And the property where the remains of the building sat was a campground for the local Boy Scouts. So the legend being that of a mentally deranged man is what helped make it so scary. Those two locations are kind of blended into one for this legend to be as scary as it was. And the kids who were told and spread the rumor the most were kids who camped with the scouts at that location. Oh, by the way, did you send me this? Lush?
No.
Who the fuck sent me this?
I don't know. What is it?
Listeners from Canada. Who sent me Lush Cosmetics? It's a bath bomb.
Oh, is that the package? Oh, that's so sweet. It has to have been wait, it came to your house address?
Yeah, it came to my actual home. I mean, the company is from Canada. I guess technically the person who sent it doesn't have to be from Canada. But there's no message with it. Yeah, this says, shipped to me, my home address. It looks like it had another piece of paper ripped off. Maybe that had like a message on it or something. But it doesn't tell me who it's from.
Well, I will say that Lush Cosmetics is amazing. I love Lush so much. It's like all natural, cruelty-free amazingness. So enjoy that bath, I will say.
Thank you to whoever sent me a bath bomb.
Does it smell nice?
It does. It smells amazing.
I love
Lush.
Mummy.
You can't really tell.
Oh,
but
that's so cool.
It's a mummy.
Aww.
It smells great.
If it was you guys, please DM us so we could thank you properly.
I don't know. Anyway, sorry. I just saw that out of the corner of my eye and had to ask. Okay. Tuberculosis patients. No. Anyway. Okay. So kids who camped out at the campground where the tuberculosis hospital used to be, now it's just abandoned buildings and tunnels. Those are the kids that love to spread the story of Cropsey.
Okay.
They were also told that Cropsey wielded a hook for a hand that he used to slash up the kids he took. Or sometimes he had all his limbs, but walked around with an axe or a huge knife that had the blood of the last child he had bludgeoned dripping from it.
Oh my God.
I will be honest, it is hard to tell which came first, the legend of Cropsey or the disappearing children. But children did begin to disappear from Staten Island, and that made the legend all the more scarier. Is it all the more scary or all the more scarier? My computer didn't know either, so way to go, Microsoft. Come on, you're supposed to be smarter than that.
Yeah, right? With like AI now? Come on, guys.
Yep. Adults who were very young children at the time when the kids disappeared seem to remember the legends predating the disappearances. But a child's memory and frame of time isn't very reliable all those years later. So, I don't know. It seems most likely that the legend spurred because of the mysterious disappearances. But that doesn't mean it's impossible that the legend itself may have conjured a real-life boogeyman. Before we get there, though, we have to talk about the victims who mysteriously disappeared from the Staten Island area, who many believe are victims of the Staten Island boogeyman, Cropsey. The first disappearance was that of a 5-year-old girl named Alice Pereira. She and her brother were playing in the lobby area of the Tyson's Lane apartments on July 7th, 1972. At around 3:30 p.m., Alice's brother left her alone for just a minute, and when he returned to where he had left her, she was gone. Some witnesses believe she was seen at the apartment complex's park nearby, but by 6:15, her mother had reported her missing. For a while, police looked into her father as the prime suspect as her parents were divorced, but later he was ruled out. Alice has never been seen or heard from since. Almost exactly 5 years later, on July 5th, 1977, an 18-year-old girl named Audrey Lynn Nuremberg disappeared from her home in Brooklyn. Audrey was diagnosed with having disorganized schizophrenia, which sometimes led her to retracing her steps in order to get back to reality. On that day in July, she had told her parents she was going out for cigarettes and would be right back, but she never returned. The day before she disappeared, she had attended an event with her family in Staten Island, so police and her family believe she may have made her way back there in an attempt to retrace her steps if she was feeling disoriented from a schizophrenic episode. Audrey has never been seen or heard from since. In July, again, of that next year, a 44-year-old woman named Shin Lee went missing from Staten Island. She was actually a nurse at the Willowbrook State School. She was last seen walking home from work around midnight. Unfortunately, Shin Lee's body was found in the woods on the grounds of the state school in August of that year, 1987. She had been strangled to death and buried in a shallow grave.
Ugh.
On October 24th, 1978, just 2 months later, another worker at the Willowbrook State School disappeared while at work.
Why is it all surrounding this same area? I don't like that.
It was 6 a.m. and still dark when Ethel Louise Atwell, 42, arrived in the parking lot at the state school. Some other workers heard her screaming and immediately called police. But when they arrived, all that was left of Ethel in the parking lot was her locked car, her purse, an earring, a single shoe, 3 coat buttons, and her dentures. Her car keys were found nearby in the woods, but Ethel has never been seen or heard from since.
Sorry, how old was Ethel?
42.
40. So she's the oldest so far.
Shin Lee was 44.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah,
In
so
my
we
brain,
have
these
a
were all like
5-year-old,
teenagers or
right?
children.
We have a 5-year-old, an 18-year-old, a 44-year-old, and now a 42-year-old.
Okay.
3 years later, again in July 15th, 1981, another young girl disappeared. 7-year-old Holly Ann Hughes was last seen by her mother, who had sent her a block from her home to purchase a bar of soap. Allegedly, she was seen purchasing the soap from the deli store at about 9:30 p.m. And I say allegedly because there was also another young girl about the same age who was also in the store to buy soap that night. It's hard to decipher who had seen Holly Ann and who had actually seen the other little girl and mixed the two up. Either way, Holly Ann Hughes has never been seen or heard from again. On August 14th, 1983, 11-year-old Tallahassee Jackson went missing after being sent out to the supermarket to buy chicken. She and her family had been living at a motel in Staten Island because their home was damaged by a fire. Her mother was taking a nap when another adult in the motel asked Tallahassee to run out to pick up the chicken, but she never returned. When her mother woke up at 4:30 and found that her daughter was missing, the police were called, but no signs of the girl have ever been found.
Tallahassee is a really cute name, by the way.
I know.
Super unique, and I don't like these rapid fire disappearances. I feel like it's Speed Freak killers all over again. I don't like it.
Yeah. Well, it's weird because I'm going to go back and touch on them a little bit after I give some more details.
Okay.
But knowing the circumstances of each one is what, I told you, you got to kind of be really paying attention to this case because it's hard. It's a hard one to decide on at the end. There's going to be a lot of speculation. I'll just put it that way.
Okay.
A year later, on June 9th, 1984, a 22-year-old man named Hank Gafforio disappeared after a night out.
Amazing name and plot twist on the man. Okay.
Hank was said to be, quote-unquote, slow with the mental capacity of a child. He was a native of Staten Island, but was last officially seen at the Spa Lounge in Port Richmond. Some people believe they saw him at a diner in Staten Island in the early morning hours the next day, but since then he has not been seen or heard from.
Oh.
In all of these cases, police and community members had reason to look the other way and not take it too seriously. While I'm writing all of these, the thing that pops into my mind is someone listening probably said it. Why do these people keep letting their children leave the house, right? All of this stuff keeps happening. People are disappearing. Why are people leaving their house? Well, the first young girl, Alice, had divorced parents, so people thought they probably had something to do with it. The next girl, Audrey, was 18 and had a mental disorder. She probably disappeared because of that, people would think. If you don't have a disorder, you're safe, right?
No.
Then the woman, Shin, was murdered and another, Ethel, went missing. So just stay away from the woods, people might think. Holly Ann disappeared, but again, her parents, too, were going through a custody battle.
Yeah.
It was probably them, people would think. Tia Hassey was a young black girl. Unfortunately, nobody paid much attention to those cases anyway. And Hank had a mental disorder. So again, you're safe if you're healthy, people might think. So even though it seems like, oh my gosh, a lot of people are going missing in this, 10, 15-year period, nobody's really paying attention. But then, in 1987, the Willowbrook State School closed down. And the reason it closed down was because of a big expose about how horrid the conditions were and how terrible young children with disabilities were treated. These conditions and treatment were front page news and in the TV headlines. It was a huge deal. It could be its own episode. I'm not going to go deep into it, but if you've watched the newest episode of Destination Fear that just came out on the Penhurst Asylum, very similar. Very, very similar. One of the reporter who talked about it said the same thing that a reporter in that one said at the time, which is, you can show pictures, you can show videos, you can't show the smell. The smell of adult and children who have mental disorders, mental disabilities, physical disabilities, incapabilities. They can't take care of themselves, and there was not enough people taking care of them. So it was not good. And so this state school got shut down, finally, in 1987, after all of this happened.
Horror.
But that same year, a young girl born with Down syndrome went missing after going on a walk. And the entire community took that very, very seriously. It wasn't just another missing girl. It was a missing girl who reminded everyone of the innocent and tortured children from the state school that they just got done watching this huge expose on. They did not want her kidnapper to get away with this. And this is when the legend of Cropsey finally came to life. For the people in the town, he was not just an urban legend anymore. He had taken 12-year-old Jennifer Schweiger. The community was sure of that. And he may have had something to do with the other 7 victims that I just described, is what they're now thinking, looking back on it. The community searched day and night for Jennifer, even against the police's advice when they said they would handle it. But they had to find Cropsey. Shortly after Jennifer's disappearance, police arrested a local man named Andre Rand. Andre Rand was a quote-unquote drifter, known to police and known to live in various campsites instead of homes. He was clearly a quote-unquote weird and creepy guy, according to the police and to the community members. But to others, he was just mentally impaired himself. Let's talk about Andre Rand a little bit. Andre Rand was born on March 11th, 1944, under the name Frank Rashawn. His father died when he was just 14 years old, and shortly after, his mother was sent to a psychiatric hospital, so he mostly had to take care of himself, hence living in tents and campsites. From 1966 until 1968, Andre, as Frank, worked at the Willowbrook State School as a custodian and an orderly and a therapist's aide, basically doing, anything because they didn't have enough workers. But this is way early on. This is the 66 and 68. In 1969, when Andre, as Frank, was 25, he was arrested and charged with attempted rape. A police officer said that he had come upon Andre in his car, pulled off in a vacant lot. He said that both Andre and a 9-year-old girl were in the vehicle naked, and that Andre had lured the girl there in an attempt to kidnap and rape her, but the officer interrupted him just in time. Andre pleaded guilty to the charge of attempted rape in order to get a plea deal, but had always claimed he was innocent, and no such thing had ever happened.
Jesus.
This is where I need you to keep your eyes open, because that sounds like a terrible fucking human being.
Absolutely.
To be in a car at 25, naked with a 9-year-old girl. But also, he's a mentally disabled, mentally impaired, at least, man who is quote-unquote weird and creepy, and he says it never happened. Is he right? Are the police framing him, or is he fucking weird and creepy? I don't know. I don't know. And again, this is all very speculative. Don't come at me, people. I don't know if he was even in a car naked with a 9-year-old girl, or if the cop just said that.
True.
Because the only person who saw it was the cop, who happened to stop it right before it happened.
The cop is a hero and arrested this man.
Yeah. And no one knows who the 9-year-old is, if there even was one. Andre Rand was sentenced to 4 years in prison for this crime, but received parole after only 16 months. So if he did do it, that's fucked up. Which led him to being released in January of 1972. This is the important part. He was released in 1972. This is when he decided to legally change his name to Andre Rand, making his past crimes harder to find in his record because, there's no computer files and shit on people. And this is also the year of that first disappearance of the 5-year-old Alice Pereira. And like I've kind of already mentioned, before I go further, I feel like it's only fair to mention that some people do believe that Andre Rand was a scapegoat for all of these disappearances and crimes that people are eventually going to accuse him of. It's very few people, but they believe that police use a quote-unquote creepy-looking guy to tightly wrap a bow around the cases of everyone I have mentioned. There is no physical evidence linking him to any of these cases. It is all circumstantial. But it's pretty good circumstantial, I'll say that.
Yeah.
And by me saying that he got out of prison at the same time as that first disappearance, I'm not saying that no other disappearances occurred during the time he was in jail. Of course, people went missing and were murdered while he was in jail, but these are the only ones linked to him because these are the only ones he could feasibly have been able to do because he was out of prison at these times. So it seems like, as I'm telling these, it's like, oh, how was he coincidentally out for all of these same ones? Well, I mean, so was 800 million other people. So it could be anybody. In the case of Alice, who had vanished while playing in the lobby of the Tyson's Lane apartments, Andre Rand was a painter for that apartment complex. There are also other painters and obviously hundreds of people who live there, but Andre Rand is the prime suspect in this case. The case is still technically unsolved, but because he was a painter for that apartment complex, the apartment complex where she went missing, he is the prime suspect. 5 years later, in the case of Audrey Lynn Nuremberg. Remember, I told you that Audrey was known to go back and retrace her steps, and she and her family were in Staten Island for an event the night before she disappeared. The event that they were at was in proximity to a campsite that Andre Rand was known to frequent as a quote-unquote drifter. So the thought is that if she went back to that place, he was also there, and so he was able to take her. The situation is actually extremely circumstantial because we don't even know if she even went back there or not. In this case, he isn't listed as the official prime suspect, but a lot of people believe that he had something to do with this if she did go back. In the case of Shin Lee and Ethel Louise Atwell, Shin Lee is the woman who was murdered, found buried in a shallow grave, and Ethel Louise Atwell was taken from around the same area. Both of them worked at Willowbrook State School. Again, there's no evidence against Andre, but there is a theory that he could have been involved simply because he used to work at the Willowbrook State School as well, where these two women worked, and he was known to camp in the woods around the area. He is believed to be their perpetrator, but nothing can link him legally to them. The next case was Holly Ann's. I'm going to skip over that one because it comes back later. In the case of Tallahassee, who disappeared from the motel, Andre Rand had a campsite a mile and a half from from that hotel where Tallahassee's family was staying. And Tallahassee's mother said that a man matching his description was seen in the motel's parking lot that day. He was interrogated about the girl, but no charges were ever filed against him in her case. But again, most people believe he did it. And in the case of Hank Gafforio, Hank lived around the same area as Andre, and the witnesses who believe they saw Hank at the diner the morning after he disappeared said that they saw him with a man who matched Andre Rand's description.
Okay, I keep nodding, guys. I'm here still. This is great for audio. I'm like, okay, okay. This is feeling like a no coincidences and true crime situation to me for some of these. But again, if police had done their research about this person and felt like he fit that bill because of all of these coincidences to tie it up in a nice little bow, like, I don't know. I have mixed feelings.
Yeah, we'll talk about it at the end, but I have ideas. So then in 1979, Andre Rand was accused of raping a young woman and a 15-year-old girl. He was accused of this, but neither of the victims, the young woman or the 15-year-old girl, ever pursued charges. I don't know if this means he was wrongfully accused or if they didn't have enough evidence to move forward, but it's just an interesting tidbit. I don't understand why everybody talks about this part, that he was accused, when there was no charges. Like, okay. People are accused of things all the time.
Yeah.
Does it mean they did them? I don't know.
So me dragging their name through the mud is okay.
Yeah. Then in 1983, so this is after Holly Ann's disappearance, but before Tallahassee and Hank.
Okay.
Andre was sent to prison again for 10 months for the charge of unlawful imprisonment. So this actually happened. He had apparently drove a bus to the YMCA park.
Oh.
Asked some children if they wanted to go and get ice cream. I guess since he had a bus, they assumed that he worked there. 11 children got on the bus with Andre, but instead of driving them to get ice cream, he drove them to the airport. I don't know why. Nobody knows why. I don't think he even knew why. I don't know. Nobody knows why. No. Well, you can go anywhere, especially in 1983 without a passport.
Fair.
But
in 1983,
you can buy 11
did
plane
they not...
tickets.
Yeah.
You can buy 11 plane tickets for these kids. Like,
that's expensive.
Yeah.
Even in 1983.
Yeah, I really just believe he is mentally unwell. Very unwell.
Yeah.
Okay, but whatever the reason was, they all went to the airport. And then I guess he was like, I don't know what to do now. So he just drove them all back to the park. That was it.
Weirdest
like a
field
random
trip ever.
Little field trip. Exactly. Yeah. No one was harmed, but he was arrested for taking 11 children.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, he got out 10 months later. And this was, when he got out 10 months later, this was 14 days before Tallahassee disappeared. He was out of jail. So he got out 14 days later, she disappeared. And then that brings us to Jennifer Schweiger's disappearance, the one that finally got everybody, riled up. Maybe Andre Rand did all of these terrible things, but maybe the legend of Cropsey got in the way of everyone's critical thinking. When Jennifer disappeared and everyone in the community, including the police, went looking for her, the very first place they went to look, after searching, her neighborhood, of course, was the abandoned hospitals and its underground tunnels. The stories that were told to children to keep them out of those dangerous buildings, keep them listening to their parents about coming in at dark, became real-life thoughts in the minds of everyone in the area. This girl is missing, and the imaginary Cropsey must have done it. We have to go to where the legend says he is and find him. Like, that's legitimately what they thought. They thought the boogeyman took her, and they went to find the boogeyman. It was a fake story, and they thought the boogeyman took her.
I mean, yeah.
Of course, Andre Rand was not in the tunnels under abandoned buildings, but he did have a campsite on the campgrounds near the buildings and the tunnels. Not because he was Cropsey, but because that was the camping area. That's where everybody camps. It's a fucking campsite, guys.
Yeah. Nothing suspicious about camping in a campground.
I really wonder if any other quote-unquote creepy drifter had been camping there that day, if that person would have been linked circumstantially to all these murders and disappearances, instead the way that Andre Rand was. I don't know.
Huh.
After Andre was arrested, the area that had already been very thoroughly searched before, near his campsite, was searched a second time. I mean, more like a fifth time. They had been out there a lot. But now he's arrested and they're like, we got to see if he has any more kids. So they go search again. And on this search, the body of Jennifer Schweiger was found buried in a shallow grave with an arm and a leg sticking out of the ground near Andre Rand's campsite.
Oh, that's haunting.
But did all those people searching the first, second, third, fourth time really miss it? Or was her body found elsewhere and relocated to that spot so that getting this quote-unquote creep off the street and making panicked community members feel safe could be done all at the same time? I don't know. I am very, very hesitant to call Andre Rand innocent, but even a jury could not decide. At his trial for the kidnapping and murder of Jennifer Schweiger, Andre Rand was found guilty of kidnapping, but acquitted of murder. as the jury had literally no evidence to point to him.
Huh.
The judge sentenced Andre to 25 years for the kidnapping.
That seems like a lot for kidnapping. I mean,
That's the maximum.
What's the statute on kidnapping, really? But
yeah, that is the maximum. They gave him the maximum for it.
That feels like I've never seen that before. Okay.
It is the maximum, but parole comes, I believe, after 18 years or something. So then, 16 years later, when police are getting nervous that Andre Rand might live to see the end of his sentence at his parole hearing, his parole hearing was coming in 2008.
Okay.
And he was sentenced in 1983.
And so he would be how old in 2008? He was 22.
Hang on.
I'm not good at math, guys.
He was born in 44.
I'm not even going to pretend to do that kind of math. I want to say the 60s.
2008 minus 1944, 64.
Oh, look at me. So close.
I don't know
the 60s.
if that math was something to be excited about, but good job.
I could have said so many other decades, okay?
So they were nervous that he was going to get out at his parole hearing. So they began investigating again. They opened up the investigation against Andre Rand for the disappearance of Holly Ann Hughes from 1981. The one I said I'd get back to.
Okay.
Police stated that during an interrogation with Andre Rand, he admitted to playing hide and seek with Holly Ann, and that he was the one who gave her money to go buy soap at the deli because he noticed she was very dirty. Police also stated that he said he then left and did not see the girl again. So police say that Andre said, I was playing hide and seek with her. I noticed she was dirty. I gave her some money, told her to go buy some soap, and then I left. But admitting to having seen and playing hide and seek with her was enough to make him a suspect in her kidnapping. So police are like, he already told us he played with her. We think that he's lying about the end part and he took her. However, Andre Rand said that this conversation with police about him playing hide and seek and all that never even happened. He was never questioned about it. He never told them he played hide and seek. It was all made up, is what he says.
Okay.
Upon further investigation, it was found out that Holly Ann lived in the same apartment building as an aunt of Andre Rand's. So with or without his admittance to having played hide and seek with her, police believed he was there the day she went missing because he was probably visiting his aunt. So he must have been there. His aunt lived there. He was probably there the same day. A month after Holly Ann disappeared, her parents received phone calls about a ransom for their daughter. Although nothing ever came from it. It turned out to be a hoax, basically. But in 2004, when the kidnapping charges were brought on to Andre Rand again in Holly Ann's case, Holly Ann's mother testified that Andre Rand's voice is the voice she heard on the phone calls from her daughter's alleged kidnapper. So they're like, he said he played hide and seek with her. He's like, no, I didn't. They're like, his aunt lives in that building. He was probably visiting his aunt. And then the mom is like, pretty sure he called me and said that he took her a long time ago. Andre Rand was convicted of kidnapping again, this time of kidnapping Holly Ann Hughes, and he was sentenced to an additional 25 years. Now he will not be eligible for parole until 2037 at the age of 93. So probably not going to make it that far. And that was the main goal of the police. Andre Rand is technically just a convicted kidnapper, but many people think that he is a child serial killer and also the boogeyman of Staten Island, Cropsey. I'm not sure what I think, except that he is quite unwell. He does write delusional notes and letters in prison. Some can even be purchased online because that's the murderabilia world we live in. He probably needs some serious mental help that he is not getting in prison. But I guess at least he's not hurting anyone from there. I don't know. It's all really weird.
Yeah.
Really weird.
It's very scary. I'm glad you chose to cover this. It is very urban legendy, but it feels too easy. I don't know.
Yeah, it feels like a quote-unquote creepy guy who actually just has a mental disorder was the perfect scapegoat for a lot of situations that probably were the easiest fucking thing. Like, okay, first of all, the Tallahassee case, I'm sorry if this is like something that people are not supposed to, I don't want to get sued. I don't know the name of the person who told her to go get chicken, but why would some random fucking adult ask her to go get chicken while her mom was sleeping?
Yeah.
Wait, don't you think maybe you should look into that person? Because that sounds like a real convenient excuse as to why your daughter's gone. Like, if I was a mom and I took a nap and I woke up and suddenly my kid was gone and I was like, where the fuck is my kid? And some random dude in a hotel room was like, oh, I asked her to go get me some chicken. She never came back. I'd be like, motherfucker, where's my kid?
Yeah.
Like, show me her right now or else I'm going to murder you because you are saying you sent my kid out. I don't believe that. I believe
Also,
that you did something to my kid.
Go get your own fucking chicken.
Yeah. Even if you did send my kid out, it's your fault now.
Yeah, go get your own chicken.
Yes.
Don't send strange children to get yourself lunch, people.
Yeah. So
yeah,
that's
a good point.
First
that
of all,
one doesn't
is
really
insane.
fit. Yeah.
The two with the parents who were fighting, I don't know if I think that the parents did it, but that also doesn't mean that I think Andre Rand did it. My biggest issue with all of it is most serial killers have a victim type. There was no victim type here.
Yeah, I know.
They were not all the same age.
Women, old, young, black,
They were
white.
not all the same race. They were not all the same gender. There is no similarities.
Yeah, the only serial killer that comes to mind that was that rampant was Richard Ramirez.
Yeah.
If you guys could think of another one, let me know. But I don't know. And we've also seen in cases where investigators use somebody with mental disabilities to tidy up a crime that they have no ability to solve. And I understand that, police departments are human too. They're doing exactly what we're doing as armchair detectives, just with more resources and information. But that doesn't mean that there hasn't been people who have gotten away with murder all the fucking time. So a
lot of them cops.
Exactly.
That's another thing.
But if this person is as unwell and is as confused as has been indicated in this episode, it just doesn't seem feasible that they could get away with killing that many people
and never finding the bodies.
Yeah, like it
doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. The craziest thing to me, I didn't look into it because I'm sure
the same area though.
So many.
And the same job is weird too. I don't know.
Well, he worked there in the 60s.
Yeah.
They went missing / died in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like, he only worked there for 2 years in the 60s. Like, if someone right now working at Spaghetti Factory went missing, would they suspect you? Fucking no.
Probably.
You haven't worked
I have a
there
true
in
crime
years.
podcast.
I just mean that it's like they chose the weirdest coincidences to be like you can make anything look suspicious. They made this look suspicious, in my opinion.
And the punishment doesn't fit the crime to me. I'm not saying kidnapping is okay.
Right.
But like we've said, this man isn't getting the help that he needs where he is.
The only reason he was sentenced to kidnapping and sentenced to 25 years is because the whole fucking town thought he was Cropsey.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't sentenced for the murder because there was no evidence.
About a testimony that he says he never gave. So
yeah, I mean, maybe he did give it. I don't know. He's definitely unwell.
No,
but
totally
also,
unwell.
There's
the whole
no
thing
fucking
with the kids
evidence
in the school bus.
Yeah,
that's weird. Like, I'm not discounting that at all, but he's
it makes
not
you look back
hurting
on
anyone
things
right now. But he's also, you're doing it, I feel like it's just a little bit of a disservice and like a waste of prison resources. Like, there are people that are in there for less time for doing way fucking worse. Because I don't like it. Feels West Memphis 3-ish.
It does. But
like,
now look up Andre Rand because...
Oh God, is he going to freak me out?
He is quote unquote creepy. And that's why people are like, put this man in jail. You know what I mean? And it's sad because, you know, he looks creepy. It's not his fault he looks creepy.
He's making my eyes water.
Yeah. He looks creepy. I'm not going to deny that.
Sir.
When you search his case, people do not say the things that I'm saying. That's why I'm like, keep your eyes open, please, guys. He comes up as a suspected serial killer. Like, I have not found anything except for one, maybe two people in a certain documentary that said they think he's innocent. Most people are like, yeah, he's fucking guilty. Because look at him. But like,
I'm not saying he's innocent or guilty. I'm just saying that it doesn't add up to me.
Yeah. Something is suspicious.
I'm officially scared. And we will share these photos on our website and social media, guys.
Yeah, one of the things that interested me about this case at first, so there's a couple reasons why I wanted to do this urban legend mixed with real life. And it's, for one, sometimes urban legends, real life is scarier than urban legends, right? Sometimes, because of the urban legend, people like Andre Rand could be wrongfully accused. I don't know if he was or not, but it can happen. And then the third thing, the thing that really got me wanting to look at this is, I've talked about it before, not enough in depth. I need to do it as an actual episode one day. But sometimes talking about things manifests them.
It's true.
Did
put enough
people
power
talking
into
about
it.
Cropsey manifest Andre Rand?
Oh,
you
God.
know what I mean? Like, that's fucking terrifying.
Right?
Especially living in 2023 where all of our books and movies and podcasts are scary. Are we manifesting like terrible, dark things for the world? I don't know. Anyway,
great job. I have no words. I'm going to have nightmares now. And I say that as we're going to record a Patreon urban legend after this.
Yes.
So kind
Yes,
of a perfect night to do it back to back.
Yep.
If you like this week's episode, don't forget to leave a 5-star rating and review. It is the best way to spread the word, and it makes us so, so happy. If you did not like this week's episode, you can keep on moving on to your next podcast.
This week, I'm going to go ahead and add this in here. My gratitude for this week is this random gift that I got. So, this fucking bath bomb. Whoever got this for me, let me know. Thank you. I would like to thank you. Anyway.
Spa day, like it. A little self-care day. It's good. I say that as somebody that has baths regularly in the winter.
Also,
actually in the summer
inside
too.
Of this box is fucking beautiful.
We do have a P.O. box if you want to send us more bath bombs and you love us so.
Yeah.
My something grateful is actually very similar to yours. Kevin got me a box of bath bombs just because the other day, and that was really sweet. And they were like all natural, and because I was house sitting for my mom and dad and I couldn't spend the night with him, he like packs me a little care bag with like chocolate and a bottle of wine and a bath bomb and a bag of popcorn, and he was like, go have yourself a little pamper night. So it was really cool.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, it was very sweet. So I'm thankful for that. And I'm thankful for all of you guys for listening. We will see you next week for my conspiracy episode. And in the meantime, keep
it
twisted.
Twisted and Uncorked is a proud member of Weirding Way Media. Hosted and produced by Sierra Zorn and Alicia Watson. If you like the show, don't forget to leave a 5-star rating and review wherever you are listening now. It really is the best way to spread the word. You can check out all things Twisted on our website, twistedanduncorked.com, and we will see you next Tuesday for a brand new episode.